Hey, this is Adam Torres, and I'm here to tell you that it has never been easier to start your very own podcast. At Mission Matters, our goal is to amplify stories that matter. That means we want to help you start your podcast because your story matters. We can do this in 3 different ways. 1, join our podcast school and take a free or paid course. 2, visit our resources page where we've already figured out what you need, such as where to host your podcast. Or 3, heck, we can even do everything for you through our podcast agency, including editing for cheaper than you can do in-house. Oh, and no contract, service is month to month. Get started by heading over to missionmatters.com and click on Start a Podcast. All right, now let's get into the show. Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of the Mission Matters Entertainment Podcast, your source for all things entertainment. My name is Adam Torres. You can follow me on Instagram at AskAdamTorres. Keep up with my book releases, book tour schedule, signings, all that other good stuff. Always love to connect with you there. And as always, if you'd like to apply to become a co-author of one of my upcoming books, just head on over to the website, missionmatters.com, and click on Become an Author to apply. All right, so today I have Ed Vincent on the line, and he is founder and CEO over at festivalPass. Ed, welcome to the show.
Great. Well, glad to be here. Appreciate it.
So excited to get into today's topic. So we're going to talk about, events, live events, event tech, future of events. I mean, a lot going on right now. For context to the listeners, we're recording this mid-2020. Or wait, we're already in August of 2020. So for context, so events are a big deal. When are they coming back? What's going to happen next? What are they going to look like? So Ed's got a really unique perspective here. Excited to get into that. But before we get into what's going on present day, Ed, tell us a little bit more about what you do overall at festivalPass, please.
Sure. So I'm the founder and CEO, and what festivalPass is the world's first live event subscription service across music, film, food and wine, theater, tech and innovation, and more, where people can come and enjoy thousands of live events locally and globally for one monthly fee.
And that's awesome. I love what you're doing there. And I think it's a great transition. So let's just dive into today's topic. So, event tech, future of events. I mean, where do you want to start with this one? This is a big deal.
Yeah, so what I think is what we're delivering is an innovative way for people to consume events differently than they have in the past. And the event industry as a whole is a really, really big global industry, $200 billion global industry. And obviously we can get into pre-COVID, post-COVID, and what that all means. But as an overall industry, it's a very big industry, and it traditionally, especially in the entertainment side, has been kind of the same way for a long time. You want a ticket, you go to one of the ticketing companies, you pay for the ticket, you get charged a fee, you then go to the event, or you sell it in the secondary market. There's really not much social interaction in the kind of ticket buying and community experience about going to events.
Yeah,
and
totally.
We're changing.
And so how does this evolution look like? So tell us a little bit more about the functionality of how festivalPass works. I mean, give us some of the nuts and bolts. Yeah.
So from a context of a background is, sometimes it's worth sharing. I've been an entrepreneur for 20 years, and every piece of my past entrepreneurial experience has kind of led to me being the right person at the right time to build this company. I've had an e-commerce company I built and sold in 2001. I had an experiential agency through the 2000s where we brought a lot of big brands into big events and helped launch multiple film festivals, owned a film festival. And then I had a software as a service business that I built and sold. And for the last 5-6 years, I've been, helping big television and film brands understand their data from a direct-to-consumer place. So coming at what we're doing today builds upon a lot of that experience. And that being said, I've learned a lot of things along the way. I even acted as the interim chief data officer of a company called MoviePass, which a lot of listeners in the U.S. may have heard of. They had some challenges along the way, mostly embedded in the business model and then in the way they finance the business. In general, the consumers love the concept. So what we're doing is right out of the gate, we have a very sustainable business model that's super beneficial to the consumer. Helps all of the players in the marketplace, the rights holders, the event people that are putting the events on, as well as unique tool sets and data insights for them, and brings the whole ecosystem together in a marketplace, akin a little bit to the way Airbnb has changed hospitality. We see ourselves as a marketplace like an Airbnb in that capacity for the live event space.
No, I love it. It's a great model. It makes sense, and I mean, I don't know where everybody listening is from, but MoviePass, I think many of us had that at one point, so I get it, and I appreciate you sharing.
3.5 million.
Yeah. That was quite a thing. And I appreciate you sharing your experience, because I think it does build in under the context of where you're tackling events from going forward. So what do you feel like, the event space is going to look like, in this whole post world that we're in right now?
Sure. So you can probably imagine on a daily basis, I'm talking to everybody in the industry. Whether that's an individual venue owner that had a small music venue in the Lower East Side of New York City, up to large festivals and of course big arenas. So each element of live events has a different answer to the same story. So until there truly is some kind of vaccine, or there truly is everyday treatments to COVID in general, we're not going to be back to, normalcy, right? We're not going to be back to packing 100,000 people into an arena indoors and, cheering along. However, there's a lot of evolution towards it. And, the industry has been innovating, a lot in the last, 3 months or so, leading up to what's happening, especially in Europe because of the way the kind of COVID wave happened. You're seeing a lot of people getting back to doing live events in Europe, but doing it in a safe way. There's everything from floating festivals, so people are in their own little boats watching a movie and or a concert. There is the drive-in phenomena that I think everybody's been seeing, a huge push back to not only drive-in movies, but drive-in concerts. A lot of arenas have been transformed. There's been a few folks in Europe that developed socially distanced concerts for thousands of people where everybody has their own pod, and that's not going to be the norm a year from now, but there's the concept of just evolving back to where people can still get out and engage in open air places to get a taste of what they love while we move towards what will eventually be, let's say, back to a new normal. Not back to normal, but back to a new normal, in my opinion, is going to happen mid-2021.
Yeah, and I think, and not to make light of the subject we're in, but I really do like the drive-in movie coming back. Who would have thought the drive-in was coming back, Ed? I don't know, but I miss the drive-in. I grew up going to those things, and I miss the drive-in. I love it. Who would have ever thought that in a million years, that the drive-in would make a comeback?
I agree. I myself went to one in Greenway, Brooklyn, a few weeks back in a Jeep, and it was so nice to take the front of the Jeep off, sit on the roof, eat some popcorn, and watch an outdoor movie. It was fantastic.
That's awesome. So let's, we've talked, functionality, we've talked past, we've talked potential future. Let's get into content, because I have a feeling like you're a content guy, to be aggregating all this content, all these different experiences, all the things you're doing over at festivalPass. Tell me more about content and what people can expect.
Yeah, so for me, the reason to get excited about this overall is I love community, and I love the concept of what happens at a live event, the special once-in-a-lifetime interaction that happens. And that's either at a large 50,000-person festival, or even a 3,000-person beer and wine or beer and burger festival in a small town. Some of those experiences are hard to ever recreate, and that's one of the reasons I love what's happening. So when you think of content, right, it happens on all levels. The content can be the artist, it can be the chef, it can be the food, it can be the film, it could be a sporting event, it can be theater. All of those pieces are really the content that makes live entertainment happen. And so when you talk about the what, it's an interesting path because of the new innovations that are coming out of the necessity of the socially distanced world, how people are producing content in different ways to address it, obviously with my hope to get back to some level of new normal soon.
anything interesting you're seeing that just kind of sticks out to you? Like, it could be a content creator, it could be a theme, it could be something else, like just anything, because you're in a unique spot. You see these things all the time, and I'm always last to know, to be clear. So I'm trying to get the inside scoop on what's interesting just to you, your personal preference that you're seeing lately.
Yeah, so there's obviously some innovations going on in the virtual space. That's not the kind of ultimate replacement of what live will be in the future. So, but it's fun to see the innovation. So whether it's certain video platforms where people are streaming and broadcasting some kind of experience, but also allowing individuals that may have quote unquote attended that virtual experience together to kind of be in their own room and having a conversation with each other while they're watching that other virtual experience, and allowing that artist to then pop into their room and potentially say something, akin to a backstage pass or akin to, meeting somebody in the green room. So those are interesting in the virtual side. On the physical, live side, I'm loving seeing, different artists or different folks just adapt and come up with different really creative ideas. Like I mentioned, floating, boats going to a concert. That's pretty cool. That's a lot of fun.
That is cool. No, great examples, and I do like this. Like it is really cool how people are now meeting online in these rooms and just all the different things. And I'm like, and so I think some of these advancements, even when things are back to normal, I think of some of these things are gonna stick out and they're gonna stick around, and to me, what's happened ultimately is I feel like the market has expanded. Maybe in certain areas it's going to be, it's going to obviously be, there's going to be some time before they get back to normal. But overall, it feels to me like the market's expanded because people are attending like events that even just like conferences or other things that they wouldn't have done before. So meaning if somebody went to and I don't have any hard data on this, by the way, this is my opinion. So if somebody would have went to one conference a year or something because it was an industry conference or whatever it was, and now they're like, oh, maybe they're going to go to two because it's easy because they're doing it from home. And they might even add on that one in person in the future. And I think the same thing, whether it's conference or music or anything else like that, I think it's pretty cool. I feel like, like what you just mentioned, that kind of green room experience, that'd be cool. You're sitting there watching something and then the artist pops in there. You're like, whoa, what just happened? This is amazing, because it still gives you that feeling is the point.
Yeah, and there's something else that I get excited about when we have both independent venues and big kind of target events on our platform. Something that I've always, when I would experience a festival, whether it's going to like a South by Southwest or a Sundance or something of that nature, often what happens is there's hundreds of events that kind of fill the ecosystem around the main event. And there's never really been a way to kind of delve into all, right? So it's always been, hey, I'm going to Sundance, but I may not have a ticket to a specific screening, but I'm going to attend, a brand party, on Main Street or something like that. But there's never been this kind of centralized ecosystem where I can use my festivalPass credits and I can go to a movie screening, redeem 10 credits for the screening, but also discover the fact that, hey, there's 7 other events I really want to go to, and they're right there in my app, and that's really cool. I can use my same currency to just hit the button, reserve it, use my barcode, and go to the event. So we're seeing that as a really cool way to kind of integrate the overall ecosystem. And then the other piece that I get excited about is what we didn't do in this COVID time is we didn't pivot to become just an online streaming platform, because I think there's others better served to just provide that technology. But what we are doing is finding ways that we can be good at what we do and expand to a complementary business model for the future. So, one of the things that I dream about, especially with our kind of relationships with the independent venues, it's one thing to, stream a big live produced show at Madison Square Garden for, you pick your favorite big band, and then all the rights that go with that and the ability to see it on TV or elsewhere. But I love the concept on the thousands of independent venues that are really the fabric of what the music industry is. Having, live streaming already embedded in every venue on festivalPass. So, on any given Wednesday night, I can go to festivalPass, take a look what's available, and go see a show from a band I like in Austin, Texas for 30 minutes and pay 5 credits, and then pop over to a show, in LA for another cool band, and then finish the night off checking out something on the Lower East Side of New York, and do that all virtually within an hour, not spending a ton of money, but still having revenue that is now being shared with the venue and the artists themselves.
Man, that's awesome. I love the concept. I love how you're pulling this off, and I think it's you're creating some win-win situations. The fan wins, the artist wins, the venue wins. I mean, it's just a win-win all around, and you're solving problems. So I love it. So, Ed, that being said, final question, two-part question. So if somebody is listening to this and they're looking at, maybe they're a venue or otherwise, and they're thinking about, how it makes sense for them to inquire about festivalPass. I mean, what's typically the right type of fit that's a good fit to work with you and your team, number one, and number two, what's the best way for them to contact you? And then the second part is just for your consumers, people like me that don't own venues or don't, you know what I mean? They just want to get out there and get on festivalPass. I mean, what's the best way to do that?
Sure. Easy to answer. So on the partner side, whether it's a venue owner, a rights holder, or anybody in that capacity, they can simply go to our website. There's a link there that says for partners, and they can fill out a form. That's one way. There's also an email. They can just email us at partners@festivalpass.com, and we have a team that will get back to the venue owner and or rights holder, festival owner, and find out if they're the right fit to work with us. And then on the consumer side, festivalpass.com. So just going to the website itself, seeing what we're doing, signing up for free. Right now you can sign up for a free account, be part of the ecosystem, have an account, see the events as they're coming, and then upgrade to a paid subscription when you're ready, or as we get closer to having a bunch of live events, in your area, you can immediately just upgrade.
Fantastic. Well, Ed, really appreciate you coming on the show today and sharing more about your background as an entrepreneur and also all the great work that you're doing over at festivalPass. And to the audience, as always, thank you for tuning in. Hope you got a lot of value out of this. If you did, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast, leave me a review in the Apple iTunes Store. And if you're watching this on our YouTube channel, Mission Matters Entertainment, definitely give us a subscribe there, but also leave us some comments in the video. Love to know what kind of projects and things that you're working on. And Ed, thanks again for coming on the show.
Great. Thanks for having me. It's fun.